Yeah, costumes. Costumes are important because they convey to the audience a little bit about the character and his situation and what he is. You can go overboard on costumes, but as long as it suits the character and suits what the audience need, and etc. etc. Um, Obviously, the Doctor has always had a distinctive look. Um, they all look very different, and it's one of those parts that requires a look for it, really. Um, the philosophy that it should look like clothes and not a costume is a very very poignant one. I don't think they've well they have I think they have got it wrong a couple of times. I would say Peter Davis and Colin Baker's costumes didn't quite work. Not that it made anything terribly bad, but they were a bit too much too much of a costume, as we've often said. Um, but yeah, they've all worked. My favourite, again, it's back to Troughton again. I loved that crumpled coat that he had, and the simplicity of it, and the fact that the bow tie was stuck on with a safety pin was just genius. Whoever thought of that needs someone to buy him a bottle of wine. My costume for Planet of Storms, I sort of knew right at the start what I was going to wear, because a while before that, at the time I used to collect, like actors do, you collect a lot of bits of clothing and stuff you see in shops, and I bought a sort of grey morning suit with a frock coat, curved fronted frock coat, but it was enormous. It was obviously built for someone the size of Giant Haystacks, that giant wrestler that used to be around. But I thought, well, you don't often see these things. I'll get it. It was cheap. It was in a charity shop or something or other. And because it was so big, I thought, well, I might try dyeing it, because it was a sort of dove grey. And I thought, I'll dye it black. I don't know what it'll come out as. And I dyed it, and it shrunk in the dye to a perfect fit. And also, it got this wonderful colour on it. It wasn't quite black. It wasn't quite grey. It was this dark, slaty, bluey colour, which, for a normal clothes, looked terrible, but for any sort of costume it was fantastic. Oh great, that's a really good costume. And I used it in several things, and when I knew it was the Doctor, I thought, oh, I've got to wear that curvy coat. And so I found various other Doctor bits, a grey waistcoat I had, and some dark trousers and a dark shirt, and I just made it like a doctory ensemble, really. But it was a nice costume. It was quite light, and it seemed to fit. And then when we did Millennium Trap, but it was a very dark costume. It was all dark greys and dark blues, which was fine for stage, but Rob was worried it wouldn't show up too well on the black and white film for Millennium Trap. So I had to find something else, and I had another suit I had, which I Chekhoved it. It had 3 buttons, but I put an extra button on the thingy so you could do it up there, so it was like an Edwardian style suit. And I decided to wear that because it was the right sort of colour. It was like a fawny browny colour, and just wore that with a waistcoat and a cravat and a white shirt. It was a bit dull, really. Once I found it, I thought that's good, and then afterwards I thought, oh, that's a bit interesting. It didn't really matter, but it was the right sort of doctorish look, but it wasn't anything particularly exciting. When Web of Fear was coming along, obviously because what I wanted Millennium Trap wasn't particularly exciting, and also because my Planet Storm's costume was a little bit Troughton-esque, I thought, well, it's time to find something new. So I was on the lookout for things. Rob and I did ruminate. I remember at one point actually wearing a copy of Troughton's costume, but because I wasn't playing Troughton's Doctor, we decided against it quite quickly, but we did touch on it, I think I remember. So I was on the lookout for something, and around about that time I remember seeing the Hammer film version of The Hound of the Baskervilles, and Peter Cushing, of course, is Holmes in that, and when he goes to the moor later on, he's got a great costume. It's a very it's sort of tweedy and browny, and he has fingerless gloves and a cloak and a belt on it and that sort of thing. And there was something about the look of it that struck me. I thought, that's a quite good doctorish look, a bit explorerish, a bit eccentric, a bit Edwardian, but not too impractical. That was the thing. It's the sort of thing you could walk down the street. What I was saying earlier about clothes, not a costume. And it made me think about that, and it reminded me of Peter Cushing's film Doctor. And I always liked his costume in that because it was nice. It was earthy colours. It was browns and greens. And green's my favourite colour, and I like wearing browns and greens. I just thought, oh, if I could find something a bit like a hybrid of the two. A, because it's anything to do with Peter Cushing is worth it. And B, I just thought it had a generically doctorishness look. So I was on the lookout for something, and in North End in Portsmouth, I stumbled across this baby. I remember it, I can't remember which charity shop it was, but I found this jacket, and I walked in, and I saw it hang on the rail, and I thought, oh, that's perfect. I wonder if it'll fit. And luckily I picked it up, and it was just my size. So that is my doctor jacket. It was a charity shop find in Portsmouth, and I got it. It's Adobe. I don't know what Adobe is. Is that a good mate? I've never heard of it before or since. And it's brown corduroy. It's nice and light, but it's not too light. I can wear it outside if it isn't very warm, and it's fine. And it's not too heavy under stage lights, anything like that. And I'm growing so fond of it now. It's sort of moulded itself to my shape. You see, the creases have stayed in it. And occasionally at home I will slip into it just if I'm in the mood. Not that sort of mood, but you know what I mean. And so there we are. So that was my jacket I found. I'm so chuffed with it. I'm very fond of it. It was just what I was after. It's rare to find that. And the corduroy velvetiness gives it a great under stage lights or any lights. It's got a nice texture to it. I did replace the buttons because it came with horrible brassy buttons. It took ages to do that, but yeah, I replaced the buttons, I remember. And also with Web of Fear, I was on the lookout for stuff underneath it. So I didn't wear any of this. This came later. I found some greeny, tweedy check trousers which were a good fit, and they were high waisted, so I could wear them with braces, which is good. And out of stock, which we have in my theatre company, we had quite a few waistcoats, and there was a sort of green paisley Victorian waistcoat with lapels, which was just perfect. It matched the trousers, matched the jacket, and I wore it with a penny round collar and a purple tie. That was the Web of Fear look. But the thing about that is that was the look of my doctor. I felt so comfy in that jacket and that colour scheme and that look. And also Web of Fear, I wore fingerless gloves as a nice little touch. I regretted it later because they became a bit annoying. But I'd worn them for the pre-filming, so I was stuck with them. But yeah, it looked good, and that was it. And then I wore basically the same thing for Fury from the Deep, except I had a different collar and tie. But I'd found this jacket and that sort of colour scheme, and that was me sorted. When we did Evil of the Daleks, excuse me, in 2006, I wore a different costume because I had an interesting artistic idea. Because I wanted it to have a reflection of black and white, of monochrome. So the idea was that everything on stage would be in monochrome colours, and I thought it would be really striking. So I found a sort of grayscale version of my costume. I had a similar shaped jacket. It wasn't corduroy, it was just, I had some tweedy grey trousers, and I had a really interesting jumper with a high collar, which I've used several times on stage. I think it's a good generic jumper. And it was obviously in the wake of the new series in Christopher Eccleston's minimalist look. And I thought, oh, I'll try that. As it turned out, it was a total waste of time because we couldn't find a grayscale kilt for Jamie to wear. So he had to wear his usual green and red one, which meant that my entire concept went out the window. Then when Dalek Master Plan came along, the last show we did, which was a year after Evil of the Daleks, there was no grayscale colour scheme with that, so I knew I could get my costume out of the cupboard. But in the meantime, in the interim years since Fury from the Deep, the green waistcoat I had worn had fallen to bits because it was actually, I think it was actually Victorian, but it was certainly old and it had been used in a lot of shows and it disintegrated, alas. And I don't know what happened to the trousers, they'd gone somewhere. So I was on the lookout for a new waistcoat. And I found this baby. I said that twice now, baby. Never mind. I found this baby again in a charity shop, and it just seemed to match the jacket because it's got a corduroy edge and it's browny, tweedy, practical, and it's enormously comfortable. It's got a bit of stretch and it's not too stiff. Some waistcoats are very stiff. It's almost got a cardigan-y feel. It's a lovely waistcoat. I wear it out a lot anyway. I dread the day this will actually go because it's quite old now, but hopefully it'll last. But, and it's a big but, I can only really wear it in the winter. It's quite thick, heavy material, and if you wear it when you're going to get hot, you really sweated it. So I thought, oh, I don't know whether I'm going to wear that on stage, because Master Plan was a very busy show, a lot of running around. I didn't want to get too sweaty, so I decided to go a bit scruffy. So I thought I won't do it with a waistcoat this time, I'll do it with just a shirt, which is a slightly Troughtonish nod. So a plain white shirt would be boring, obviously. So I was on the lookout for a shirt, and I spotted this shirt. Now, where did I buy this? Cherokee. Is that Sainsbury's? Can't remember. Anyway, somewhere. And I saw it, and it's a sort of creamy beigey colour, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's got tiny little flowers on it. You've got sort of blue and green leaves and little red flowers on it. But from a distance, it just looks like a patterned, textured shirt. And so I thought, oh, that's it. And again, see the tonal colours just go with the browns. And because there's red in the flowers, see how vain actors are, it's terrible. I decided to find a red tie, and I found this lovely old, I call it a Chesterton tie, because it's a 1960s straight tie, which also, you know, is good for Victoria, because it's that knitted stuff. But Ian Chesterton used to wear ties like this. So I got the red one that I wear with that. So that went with that. So that was me in Masterplan, and I had a t-shirt on underneath that. So just another layer. I slightly regret that I didn't wear the waistcoat on a Masterplan, because it would look nice. And I just had plain brownie trousers, which went. So, but I was comfy running around, looking scruffy. And also there was a scene in there where we had to be crashed in a spaceship, and there was we were going to throw dirt all over it. We didn't in the end, and I didn't want the waistcoat to get ruined. So there was that as well. And also, this theoretically, I could have found a replica shirt and tie for Nick to wear when he regenerated, but at the end we didn't have time, and he just came out something else anyway, because I couldn't replicate the waistcoat or the jacket. So Masterplan, I was just the same basic thing, but without the waistcoat. So when Power of the Daleks came along, I knew I was going to climb back into all this, but I thought, I can wear the waistcoat because it's not so runny around it because we're on film. As it happened, I roasted anyway because we filmed it in the summer, and it wasn't too hot, but yeah, it was a little hot. And so that's my standard look now. If I'm doing the Doctor, I know exactly what to wear. Sometimes I change the tie. I also have I've still got it was a greeny, purpley, pasty tie that I wore in Planet Storms, and I sometimes wear that. I think I wore that for the film we did the other year. But yeah, so that is my standard Doctor look now. It's a lovely look. I like the feel of that explorery, slightly crumpled. You know, you could walk down the street in that and not look ridiculous, but it still has that doctorish look. I could vary it, I suppose, but I want it to be something similar. So in an ideal world, if I fancied a change, I'd get a tailor to make a similar jacket in a different colour, but I would like to keep this sort of look. It's not too long, it's short, and I'm short, and it suits my frame. And yeah, I feel very comfortable in it, but I could change it. I'll vary the tie and shirt, but that's about it. I'd like to keep that. How long this jacket will last, I don't know, because it's starting to go in places. I've got safety pins here holding the back together. I should get that mended because, you know, and it's fraying. But it all adds to the charm. But if it starts to go, I'll have to pay out to get a replica made.